Welcome everyone to Yinsday Yoga for the People. My name is Libby, and tonight I'm joining you from what used to be our dining room, but we don't have a dining room table anymore. So our sitting area, I guess. I am gonna take us through a sequence tonight that's really gonna be centered around the low back and hip area, and our inspirational thoughts as we move through our sequence tonight come from Don Miguel Ruiz's The Four Agreements. It's one of my favorite books. And so I've just pulled some of my favorite quotes out, and we'll use these as prompts to just open up to any insights or guidance that's wanting to come through. Let me give a real quick spiel about Yin Yoga itself, since it's not as commonly practiced as regular Yang Hatha Yoga is. With Yin Yoga, when you come into the posture, you don't want to push yourself into the deepest posture you can. So when you come into it, if you start to feel tension come in, or it takes your breath, or maybe a quick discomfort, back up just a little bit so you can settle into what we call the three. And the three is, okay, you've changed the shape of your physical form, and there is some sort of sensation there, but it's nothing that you're having to regroup from or tolerate right at the very start of it, because this is Lee. Since I'm in my dining room tonight, we will probably have visitations from all four of the pups in this house. So they apparently Lee wants to be on camera very early. In regards to the three, you're going to be holding your position for about 5 minutes each, and as you're in it, you know, gravity takes over and just draws you deeper and deeper into the posture itself. So you will get very deep, but it's not anything that you should be striving for. We don't strive in a Yin practice. That is the exact opposite of the quality of Yin. The quality of Yin is allowing and receiving. So the alchemy of Yin is in duration, not sensation. Especially not that initial sensation, because the sensation is going to deepen as you're there. All right, enough said about that. We'll go ahead and start with just a little bit of centered breath. So just coming to a comfortable seated position here, sitting nice and tall through the crown of the head, closing your eyes, and allowing the breath to begin to equalize into a deep, natural rhythm. Allowing the mind to begin to settle. And allow yourself to become fully present in the moment. That's another thing that our Yin practice is very good at teaching us, and that is presence. And so we begin to cultivate that with our beginning breath and centering practice. Softening the muscles of the face and jaw. allowing the shoulders to release away from the ears. And then seeing if an intention rises in heart space. And if so, just affirm that intention with stating it 3 times silently to yourself. It should be stated in the positive and in the present tense. I am, I receive, I release. And we'll bring our hands together at heart center. Lee's bringing her paw up to my heart center right now. Hey, can you call Lee real quick? He can't hear me. He's got his earbuds in. We'll bring our hands to heart center and not worry about where Lee is. We'll inhale, reaching forward and up. And exhale back down to the heart. Holding here to open our class with 3 ohms. Taking an inhale. Fourth resonates within the heart space. All right, Lee, that's enough. That's enough. All right. Crackers has joined our practice as well. All right, so our first posture is going to be half butterfly. So we're going to draw or keep our left heel drawn in toward our groin and extend out through the right leg. From there, now actually do an assessment of your low back here. If you're having a tendency to dump backwards, I'll show you what I mean from the side. So if you're posteriorly tilting and can't hold your back up tall in this position, then you may want to elevate your hips on a blanket. So I forgot to mention when we first started tonight's practice, I decided to make it a true home practice, and I'm not using traditional yoga props. I've got textbooks over here, and I've got a couple of firm pillows that I'll be using in my own practice. Feel free to use your yoga props, a bolster and blocks, but I just wanted to demonstrate how even if you don't have fancy yoga props, you can still have a home practice. So we have our right leg extended. Left heel is drawn in toward the groin. It does not have to be as far in as you can hold it. You want to, once again, have this be a passive type position for you. And before I even move further into the posture, I can feel a little bit of a stretch, an opening beginning to happen along the inner thigh here. So if you would like, you may come forward on your bolster, or you can just come forward on your hands. I think I'm just going to come forward on my hands tonight, but we'll take a deep inhale, tall through the crown of the head, lifting from the base of the skull. Exhale, hinge forward at your hips. Try not to flex through the spine. Keep the spine tall. And keep the back, the neck in line with the spine here. And I'm just hinging forward enough that I've got sensation along the inside of my right leg, but it's nothing that is taking my breath away. I'm not having to clench my jaw to try to dig in and bear it. It's there. It's a 3. I haven't pushed it over the edge, but there is something occurring. That is what we call the 3 or the Goldilocks principle. It's just right. There's something there, but it's not too much. Now, as we hold this pose longer, you may get to a point on the inner leg where you're not feeling a thing. It's dropped down to a 1 or 2. At that time, you would just walk your hands a little further forward, but keep the back nice and long here. And we breathe. So the first of the 4 agreements, and by the way, the 4 agreements, it's just a code of conduct that was garnered from ancient Toltec wisdom. And, you know, in our lives today, with all of the media influences and peer pressure and toxic environments, it's kind of easy for us to lose touch of who we are. And the 4 agreements were written with the idea of developing yourself first and training your mind so that you can see the world in a new light. And when you see the world in that new light, it automatically results with a more honest and fulfilling way of life for ourselves. So the first agreement is be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself. That's a tough one. Or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. Again, you may have noticed that the sensation on the inside of your leg has dulled or maybe non-existent. If that's the case, you'll just give an inhale through the spine and exhale, slide forward just a little bit more until the sensation returns. The world is a very beautiful and wonderful place. Life can be very easy when love is your way of life. You can be loving all the time. This is your choice. You may not have a reason to love, But you can love, because to love makes you so happy. Love in action only produces happiness. Love will give you inner peace. It will change your perception of everything. Carefully begin crawling yourself back up to center. Welcome, April. And we'll go straight into the left leg. So you'll slowly draw your right heel in towards your groin, opening out with the left leg. Crackers has no problem being yin. Lee, on the other hand, she's about as goofy as they come. All right, so nice and lengthened through the left leg. Hands come forward. You know, if you come forward with your palms and it already starts making you flex through your spine, you're having trouble holding your spine up tall just with the arms extended, palms on the mat, then, you know, that's what your blocks or your, in my case, textbooks are for. And that can lengthen your arms and help you stay nice and tall through your spine. So just for those that may need a little bit of guidance on that to find their three, if palms can reach the mat, we're going to take a deep inhale, tall through the crown of the head. Exhale, walk forward just enough so that the sensation begins to come into the inside of the left leg. I'm feeling it all the way up from the groin. On this side, I'm feeling it a little past the knee even. Again, I remind you, don't push yourself into a 5, 6, or 7 where it makes you tense up. Your body is working against itself at that point. And since we're working with fascial tissue, it'll immediately resist if it's pushed too far. So you want to try to find that happy medium where there is something occurring, but it's just there and you can just be with it. The second of the 4 agreements is one that, I have spent a lot of time with and still have to come back to often. And that is, don't take anything personally. Nothing that others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering.
What? They're calling for all three of us. Letting us know that their appointments are back normal. So I got 3 calls for each of us because we're all patients there. I'll probably get a 4th if I guess right, because I might get one from upstairs.
Oh, okay.
OBGYN,
Oh, okay.
it's Dr. Douglas's office.
Okay. You know Zoom?
Can you turn your microphone off, please? I'm sorry. Gossiping has become the main form of communication in human society. It has become the way we feel close to each other because it makes us feel better to see someone else feel as badly as we do. There's an old expression that says misery loves company, and people who are suffering in hell don't want to all be alone. But nothing that other people do is because of you. It's because of themselves. All people live in their own dream, in their own mind. They are in a completely different world from the one we live in. When we take something personally, we make the assumption that they know what is in our world, and we try to impose our world on theirs. Even when a situation seems so personal, even if others insult you directly, it has nothing to do with you. What they say, what they do, and the opinions they give are according to the agreements that they have in their own minds. Once again, that one's a jagged little pill for me to swallow. We'll inhale and come back up to center. And we're gonna open out fully. Again, you may want to elevate the hips, especially now that both legs are open. There can be that tendency to dump backwards into the low back with that posterior tilt of the pelvis. But if you can sit up nice and tall with the legs spread, and again, if you need your textbooks or your blocks to lengthen your arms, we want to make sure that the arms can fully extend and the palms can meet the mat or the blocks. We'll take a deep inhale and we'll exhale, sliding forward, keeping the arms extended only as much as we need to experience sensation on the inner legs. And again, as we hold, if the sensation begins to lessen, then we can slide a little deeper forward into the posture, but only when the sensation has released. The third agreement: don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. How can I be more clear in my communications? We'll take a couple last breaths here. And then slowly walk ourselves back up. Straddle splits are challenging for me, so that was pretty deep. I am going to help my legs up out of this position by taking hold under my knees, leaning my weight back, and starting to lift under my knees to bring them back up. Ooh. Okay. It might feel good to hold in an egg position here for a moment. In the training that I received in Yin, I learned that with our Yin practice, we want to avoid the urge to purge. So let me explain, because I just experienced that urge myself coming up out of that wide leg forward fold. The first thing that I wanted to do was start windshield wipering my knees side to side to try to cleanse out or purge the sensation that is sitting on the inside of my legs right now. It's existing. I can feel it still right now. And our Yin practice asks us to just accept it. Accept it as our experience in this present moment and let it be what it will be. So that was a mistake in my Yin practice that I used to make before I was formally trained, was that purgative action. And so that is why we let it just be, because that is the Yin way. All right, so we're gonna come into cow face position to close the hips off a bit and work more in the outer hip area. There are various stages of this posture that the legs can take. I will show you and lead you into the traditional, and then I'll show you the options if the traditional leg position is not good for your body. So what we'll do is we'll start by sending the left leg under the right and draw that foot to the outside of the hip. So my knee is forward and it's sort of lined up with my heart center. Now this is the part that might be tricky. And once again, don't worry if it's too tricky for you. I'll show you an alternate leg position. I like to take my right hand and place it on the outside of my knee and then take hold underneath. There's Scooby-Doo coming in to say hello. He's our oldest man. He's 15. And then you can take hold under the ankle and you're going to draw the knee across, and I kind of use my arm as leverage between my knees to kind of stack them. So let me scoot over so you can see, because Lee's head's in the way. These are my feet out to the sides of my hips. I am feeling sensation in the outer right hip. Some of you may be feeling it in the left hip as well. The soles of my feet are open behind me. And I am trying to keep my pelvis level. The tendency is to drop over onto that bottom leg hip. I want to try to stay level here. And if that is not possible for me, what I can do is take a blanket, or in my case, a little bit of a pillow, and I can put it under the lower hip, and that'll balance me out a little bit. Okay, so if this leg position doesn't work for you, you can make this as loose as you'd like. So maybe sending your knees away from you and just cross-legging, Or you can even come to half cow face position, and that would have the bottom leg straight and the top leg crossed over as such. So this would be half. Now, I will say this, in half cow face position, it is actually not a lesser version of the same pose. It's a little bit different pose. You're actually getting stretch at the back of this bottom leg and not getting quite as much out in this hip. But it is still stretching the hip, which is what our focus is. So this would be an acceptable variation for our purposes tonight. And number 4 right here, Wooster, came in to say hello as well. Wooster's my boy. All right. So we're going to add a little bit of a twist into this tonight. We'll take a deep inhale, and since the right leg is on top, we'll sweep across with our left arm and twist right. So I've just got my left arm hooked on that knee, and I'm not pressing and really trying to torque my heart open. I'm just letting it be. The 4th and final agreement. Always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. That's an important statement right there. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be difficult when you are healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best, and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. Take 3 last breaths here. And inhaling, unwinding back to center. Help that top leg off using your arms. And we'll come back to a bent knee position. And we'll go immediately into the other side. All right, Lee. So you're gonna send your right foot under your left and out to the side of your left hip. Don't sit on the heel, please. The sole of the foot is open behind you. And left hand to the outside of the knee, reach under and stack the knees as best you can, or you can take the half version. In the half version, the right leg would be out straight, left leg crossed over, just the same as in this variation. Or you can loosen your cross. So instead of stacking the knees, you could come more to a fire log type position here. If that is giving sufficient sensation in the outer hip. So I'm feeling the majority of the sensation in the outer left hip now. Once again, it's not taking my breath away. It's there. There's a little discomfort, but it's doable. I take a deep inhale, tall through the crown of the head. Exhale, sweep across with the right arm to hook around the knee, and my back hand is planted just gently behind my hip. And we hold here. Action is about living fully. Inaction is the way that we deny life. Inaction is sitting in front of the television every day for years because you're afraid to be alive and to take the risk of expressing what you are. Expressing what you are is taking action. And doing your best is taking action because you love it. deep inhale will unwind back to center, taking hold of your top leg and helping it off. And pulling your bottom leg out. And just holding here, maybe in a little egg shape of hugging your knees in. You can even let your chin drop down towards your chest and just hold here and observe. And releasing. Okay, so I did not pre-test this next posture with my home props instead of my yoga props, so this could be a big old fail. We'll see what happens. But we're going to take reversed child's pose. So I'm going to go ahead and get my stack of books that would represent 2 yoga blocks stacked on low, because you're going to make a bolster ramp. I'm going to make a firm pillow ramp. So I'm just going to bring my couple of pillows here so that they are elevated on my stack of books. Now, I'm going to show you this from the front, but then I'm going to come into position over the bolster. What you're going to do, you're going to bring your knees wide and sit back on your heels. So this is, your toes are going to be back towards your bolster or your pillows. And then I'm just going to ease myself back. It's working. This is a tough pose for me. It is definitely pushing toward the top of the 3 zone in my quads. Try not to arch up in your low back too much. You actually want to tuck your tailbone forward towards your knees. Let me check our time and we'll settle in. If you don't have props, you could do this by just coming back on your hands, or yeah. Or you could even, if that's not enough, you could come down to your forearms. I can't come down to my forearms, so that's too much for me. So lots of options. My knees are wide, toes are pointed, are touching, and I'm sitting on my heels. By the way, I've already started timing, so don't worry. You can come arms out to the sides, palms up, if that feels good to your chest and shoulders. You can only be you when you do your best. When you don't do your best, you are denying yourself the right to be you. That's a seed that you should really nurture in your mind. You don't need knowledge or great philosophical concepts. You don't need the acceptance of others. You express your own divinity by being alive and by loving yourself and others. You express your divinity by being alive and loving yourself and others. You will have 3 last breaths here in reverse child's pose. And then to come up, you'll tuck your chin and press yourself back up. Go ahead and come off of your knees. And our next posture will be in yin, we call it caterpillar, but it's just a seated forward fold. If you would like, you can place a bolster or pillows under your knees even. The straighter your legs are in forward fold, obviously the more stretch you're going to receive up the backs of the legs, hamstrings especially. But you know, if that deep stretch is not for you tonight, here's a test you can do. If you can sit on the floor and comfortably lengthen your legs without posterior dumping with your pelvis and flexing through your spine, then you should be good to not have to prop under your knees. But if you try to sit on the mat and press your knees down and it causes you to flex through your spine, then just leave a bend in the knees and roll a blanket or place some sort of support under the knees. And you'll find that it's much easier to keep a tall spine and do the hinging at the hips instead of flexing through the spine to fold forward. So please work with whatever body you brought to your practice tonight, because it's going to be different than the body that you brought to your practice last time you were on your mat. So tonight I feel good to leave my legs straight and I'm going to move the meat out from under my sits bones so that I can feel them grounded into my mat. I just want to start by extending my arms and bringing my palms to the mat. Again, just like when we did the wide leg forward fold. If you straighten your arms and they don't quite reach the mat without you flexing through your spine, then just grab your blocks or your books and place them under your hand so that you can keep the heart lifted and the shoulders drawn back. We'll take a deep inhale. Exhale. All I'm going to do is hinge at the hips and slide my hands forward until I hit that wall where the hamstrings go, no more. There's a little bit of sensation, but it's not anything that's crazy intense. And I'm just trying to keep the heart lifted, keep the neck in line with the spine, and keep the back long. Neutral spine. Doing your best is taking action because you love it, not because you're expecting a reward. Most people do the exact opposite. They only take action when they expect a reward, and they don't enjoy the action. And that's the reason why they don't do their best. Again, I'll remind you, your best is going to change from moment to moment. This pose is an example. Right now, I'm doing my best to be right at a 3. And actually, I've just felt my hamstrings release, so I'm going to go a little deeper. But my best in the past has been with a pillow under my knees. Another best in the past, I've actually had my chest on my thighs with no struggle. So this is my best for the moment. On your next inhale, press into your hands and slowly drag them as you come all the way up to seated. Close your eyes, hold here and observe. And from here, we'll slide onto our backs for the first time in the sequence. And from here, I'm sorry, I messed our music up. I was moving my phone and hit the pause button. I'll get it going once we get into our posture. Okay, so we're going to take a supine version of tree pose, which is a standing balance pose. So what I'd like for you to do is lengthen your left leg fully on the mat. And then you're going to let your right knee drop open to the sides. And actually, I've changed my mind. We're going to take banana tree instead of just tree pose here. So what I'd like for you to do is walk your left leg over to the left, and then you'll bring your right foot to the inside of your left thigh. You can clasp your hands behind your head. You can come to goalposts with your arms, or you can take hold of your right wrist with your left hand. Either of the, or any of the arm positions that you take, you're now going to walk your torso off to the left. So the stretch is coming through the right side of the body. I've also got the right knee dropped open into a tree type posture. And so I'm feeling it all through the right hip, the right rib cage, side body. I'm even feeling it up under the right armpit. And we hold and breathe. And Libby tries to get her music going again. Oh, it's the music itself. It was silent. Here we go. Sorry about that. Be impeccable with your words. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Do your best. One of my favorite sayings that has to do with not taking anything personally. What others think of you is none of your business. To embrace that is freeing, in my opinion. And I have to tell myself that phrase a lot. Libby, let go of it. It's none of your business. It's none of your business what that person said about you. It's none of your business what they think about you. I also heard someone say one time, you should be so busy with your own business that you don't have time to worry about other people's business. All right. To walk yourself out of this posture, you'll first bring your torso back into center. Go ahead and draw up with your right knee, and then you can bring your left leg back into center and lengthen out through your right. And you can bring your arms down just to give your shoulders a rest for a moment. Just close your eyes here and feel into each side of the body, noticing the differences since that was an asymmetrical posture. Different treatments going on each side of the body. And then we'll walk the right leg over to the right. Wooster. I'll move. All right. And then you're going to let the left knee drop open and bring the sole of the left foot to the inside of your right leg. You'll find whatever arm position you took in your other banana tree, and you'll walk your torso off to the right side as well. So my right leg and my torso are off to the right. My left knee is dropping open to the left. And Wooster's getting a belly rub with my right foot. Right, begin bringing yourself back into center, piece by piece. And do take a moment to lengthen out and just feel how you may now have a rebalancing of the sides, or maybe not. Maybe you still, like in my own body, I'm still feeling the sensations that were in the right side of my body, the first side that we did. And our yin practice teaches us to say, okay, there's a sensation, and it's exactly as it should be in the moment. Now, I will say in general, my yoga practice tells me that is communication from my right hip, saying there's an imbalance here that needs to have some time spent with it and needs to be rebalanced. But for right now, my yin practice just says there's a sensation there, it's communicating, and it is exactly as it should be in this moment. We're going to end by bending both knees, if Leah'll let me do this. And we're going to draw them in toward our chest. You're going to split your knees, reach between your legs, and take hold of your feet in this butterfly happy baby pose position. So sort of a hybrid between bound angle and happy baby pose. Just a couple minutes here before we move into Shavasana. Just taking this time to send gratitude to my physical body for allowing me to have this practice this evening. every single one of these agreements starts with the self. And when we do our inner work and transform, coming more into the realization of our true self, we are affecting humanity as a whole. So our charge is to just do our work. If there's something about humanity or the events occurring that disturb you, that you don't like, see how those same characteristics show up in your own life and work on that. Feed your energy to your own transformation. And from here, we'll release the feet. Just give the knees one last hug into the chest. And you can release your feet back to the mat, lengthening your legs away from your body. Bringing them about mat's distance apart, letting the feet just flop open naturally like they want to do. Lengthen the back of the neck. And then arms extend out to the sides of the body, palms up. And I like to do a little bit of a wiggle to get my shoulder blades up under me to open my chest and heart space. And try to find an equal distribution of your weight between your hips and your shoulders. Close your eyes. And just give the weight of your body over to gravity, allowing it to draw you into a deep state of relaxed awareness. Letting go, I whisper. It's okay to release. Letting go, my body says back to me, thank you. Letting go, I find a silence and a stillness so sweet. Letting go, I feel my body welcome in peace. This feeling of centeredness, groundedness, and ease becomes available anytime I'm willing to let go and welcome release. As the sound of the bell enters into your awareness, let it bring with it an awareness of your surroundings, beginning to deepen your breath and turn your senses outward once again. Slowly begin to bring movements back into your body, starting with fingertips and toes, hands and feet, wrists and ankles, arms and legs. Body making movements that feel good to you. And when you're ready, make your way over onto your right side using your arm or blanket as a pillow, remaining there for a couple of breaths, allowing all weight off the heart. And then you can gently help yourself up to a comfortable seated position. We'll end where we began. I invoke favor, peace, and prosperity upon each of us this evening. May we experience full restoration, nothing missing, nothing broken. That which has been taken from us, physical and not, may it be returned to us sevenfold. And that which was once broken in our lives, bodies, minds, or spirits, may it be mended like new. May all beings be happy, healthy, and free, and may we practice with patience and know much peace. Namaste. Thank you to each of you for being here this evening. Thank you to Lee for bringing some spontaneity into the yin practice. I got a full tongue bath across my face in one of the poses. No, thank you for being in the room with me tonight, ladies. Thank you out to you in YouTube land that may have run across this video. I hope it felt good to you and hope to have you back soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Namaste.